Hey there, amazing friends. I warmly invite you to join me on this exciting journey by subscribing to my channel, liking, commenting, and sharing my videos. Every like, comment, and share brings us closer together and fuels my passion to create more great content. Your support truly makes all the difference. Thank you for being the heart of this community. Fear grows in the Andes. Confessions of the Andes Beast serial killer Pedro Alonso López. The Andean highlands form a breathtaking panorama of jagged peaks, wispy clouds, and ancient cultures thriving in narrow valleys. In certain regions, small towns nestle against the slopes, their terracotta roofs a patchwork of color amid the green hills. On bright days, sunlight glistens on the snow-capped summits, giving travelers a sense of serenity, perhaps even spiritual awe. Yet behind this postcard beauty lurks a darker undercurrent, a memory of terror so profound that people hesitate to recount it. The watchers of local rumor speak of a monstrous figure who haunted these slopes, an uncanny presence as chilling as any legend. Pedro Alonso Lopez, the man who became infamously known as the Beast of the Andes. Decades ago, tales of missing children, hidden graves, and the shadow flitting from one community to the next spread fear across multiple nations. While certain details are documented in criminal archives, others remain overshadowed by illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. The Watchers suspect his crimes, as savage as they were, masked in even deeper gloom haunting the Andean corridor. Born in Santa Isabel, Colombia, around 1948, Pedro Alonso Lopez entered life amid poverty and turmoil. Official records are spotty. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Some watchers claim his mother was a prostitute who offered little maternal warmth, leaving him to fend for himself on the streets. In a realm where overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, the watchers say young Pedro quickly learned cruelty. Yet the watchers also glean from interviews that a savage wrongdoing in his childhood shaped him, possibly abuse from older men or violent authority figures. This pain, watchers propose, twisted his psyche. He roamed from city to city, drifting deeper into petty theft, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, leading eventually to more sinister acts. By the time watchers recognized him as a threat, it was too late. He had tasted a lethal compulsion targeting children, especially young girls, across a wide swath of Andean territory that spanned Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. Most infamous killers rarely hide in bright daylight, but watchers say Pedro Alonso Lopez was cunning, weaving overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions that let him slip through local communities largely unnoticed. Often, he approached small children in crowded markets or near rural roads, promising sweets or small gifts. The watchers glean from witness statements that he'd lure them to isolated spots. Many watchers consider it a typical predator pattern, but overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions that such a large number of victims across multiple nations might point to a deeper, intangible hush. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Possibly local authorities were slow to coordinate, or overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. The rugged Andean terrain aided his mobility. Some watchers interpret overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions that the region's chaotic record keeping let him vanish easily. But actual arrests never stuck until it was too late. In 1980, a massive shift occurred. Flash floods near Ambato, Ecuador, revealed shallow graves that watchers discovered by chance. Within lay the remains of multiple young girls reported missing. Local police launched a manhunt. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Amid the swirl of suspicion, watchers singled out a drifter who matched described features. It was indeed Lopez. His capture was almost accidental. A mother said she caught him coaxing her daughter away from a marketplace. Furious crowds pinned him until authorities arrived. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Under interrogation, the watchers note he displayed an eerie calm. Then came confessions, so extensive that even hardened officers recoiled. According to the watchers who read official transcripts, Pedro Alonso López boasted of slaying hundreds. Yes, hundreds. He claimed to prefer vulnerable children from impoverished backgrounds. Some watchers interpret illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, that maybe he exaggerated, but the watchers note that official exhumations across the region did yield dozens of remains matching his accounts. Some watchers suspect he embellished for infamy. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, but the scale was undeniably monstrous. He described in chilling detail how he stalked, how he coaxed trust, how he performed his vile acts. The watchers found the entire confession so horrific that many details remain sealed. Even so, the bits that emerged portrayed him as a cunning predator who found comfort in killing to quell an internal rage. This rage watchers attribute to his broken childhood and possible mental illness. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Though the watchers might see illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions in many criminals' histories, few match the scope or cross-border cunning of Lopez. The watchers interpret illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions that local police, lacking advanced forensics or a cohesive database, took years to connect the dots. By the time watchers realized the same man might be behind hundreds of missing children, entire communities in Ecuador, Peru, and Colombia were seized by fear. Mothers kept children locked indoors. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. School attendance dropped. For watchers, the beast of the Andes was not a mythic demon, but a real, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions that thrived on the region's vulnerabilities. In captivity, Lopez displayed contradictory behaviors. On the one hand, watchers recorded him as polite, calm, even friendly at times. On the other, when describing his crimes, he displayed a chilling detachment. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. He called the children my dolls. Watchers interpret illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions as a sign of dehumanization. His confessions reveal patterns. Typically, he approached a child in a bustling area, lured them away to a remote spot, and after the monstrous deed, left them in shallow graves or open fields. He claimed that he found twisted comfort in the quiet closeness of the murder scene. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. The watchers reeling from these revelations see illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions in each step of his method. Indeed, watchers say rarely has a killer expressed such systematic remorselessness. The watchers also highlight the tragedy that many of these children came from families living on the edge of poverty. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, who rarely found strong official support. In many Andean towns, missing child cases might not get swift or thorough investigations. This allowed Lopez to roam freely. Some watchers interpret overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions that the region's complexities enabled him to slip between the cracks. No centralized database, minimal communication among rural police. By the time watchers recognized the pattern, the death toll soared. Then watchers ask, how could so many vanish without a bigger alarm? The watchers interpret overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. The monstrous synergy of underreporting, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, and a cunning predator. While in jail, Lopez cooperated with watchers to show them burial sites. Eerily, he led them to clusters of shallow graves in multiple provinces. Each excavation revealed bones heartbreakingly consistent with child victims. Official tallies vary. Some watchers say about 110 confirmed. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. But Lopez boasted a figure near 300. The watchers remain uncertain if that number is exaggerated. Even at the lower confirmed total, watchers see overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, describing him as among the worst serial killers known. This overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions forcibly etched his name into the region's darkest lore. The watchers also gleaned from prison interviews that Lopez claimed a moral line: he never harmed pure angels older than a certain age. The watchers see overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, a twisted rationalization that underscores the cruelty. Some watchers interpret overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, as an attempt to cling to an internal code that is monstrous but consistent in his mind. Meanwhile, official psychiatrists found him to be a textbook psychopath with a total lack of empathy. The watchers see overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions in every statement. Lopez also claimed supernatural experiences, referencing dreams where shadows guided him across the Andean nights. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Possibly a delusion or a manipulative ploy. One recurring detail watchers note is that he found comfort in the hush of the mountains at night. The watchers interpret overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, as how he used the remote Andean environment to conceal his crimes. He described the wind whistling through canyons, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, and the watchers see overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions in the synergy of lonely places enabling the worst acts. Another chilling aspect is how he would linger with the victim, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, sometimes returning to the grave site days later. The watchers see overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions in that horrifying ritual. Yet the watchers' greatest shock came after a few years, due to the complexities of legal systems in certain Andean countries, plus a strange combination of sentencing laws. Lopez was eventually released from prison in Ecuador. The watchers are stunned overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Indeed, the watchers found that Ecuador's penal code had a maximum for homicide convictions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. He served the maximum term, around 14 years, if watchers recall correctly, then was deported to Colombia. Overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Some watchers interpret illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions as a travesty. Freed, he possibly reoffended. The watchers glean rumors that he re-emerged briefly in certain areas. Overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, but official records are murky. The watchers consider illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions that he might still roam. Or perhaps he died. No confirmed sightings exist for decades. The watchers remain uncertain. Overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. This shocking release only deepened the watcher's sense of unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions. That a man who claimed hundreds of child victims could walk free defies comprehension. The watchers see illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, in how local governments or an archaic system allowed it. Some watchers blame corruption, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Others blame the system's emphasis on rehabilitation or finite sentencing. Meanwhile, families of victims found no closure. Overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Rumors swirl that he might have continued in neighboring regions. Overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Yet, no official confirmation. Some watchers guess he was possibly killed by vigilantes. Others suggest unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, that he changed identity. The watchers remain in dread that his ghost or real presence might still lurk in the remote corners of the Andes. Beyond the historical facts, watchers recount intangible horrors that swirl around the Andes beast. They speak of nightly nightmares, illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions that plague survivors or investigators, as though the trauma took on a spectral dimension. The watchers interpret illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, as a form of unstoppable sorrow haunting the region. Some watchers blame local superstitions that the evil gleaned from so many innocents conjured a monstrous entity that roams the mountains. Overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. In certain remote villages, mothers still scold children, "Do not wander alone at dusk, or the beast of the Andes will take you." So the watchers see illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, bridging a real monster's legacy with mythic demonization. One telling detail is how watchers found stashes of children's clothing or personal trinkets in shallow caves. Overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Items Lopez might have kept as trophies. That a living man could conduct such a monstrous routine fosters illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions that nearly approach the demonic. The watchers also know the swirl of illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions in the local environment. Haunted glances of villagers at mention of the name Pedro. Hush overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. They recall a pastor's statement. He carried darkness in him, but also the land itself conspired. giving him cover. For watchers, it underscores how the Andes, majestic as they are, can cloak unspeakable acts in their remote labyrinth. As the watchers attempt a broader narrative, they see unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions in the legacy of the Andes beast. On one hand, it's a tragic testament to failures in law enforcement, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. On the other, it reveals how easily overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions can flourish in impoverished communities. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Ultimately, watchers remain fixated on the confessions themselves. Some watchers manage to read partial transcripts. They discovered that while describing crimes, he seemed to enter a dreamlike state. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, calling each victim my little treasure. The watchers interpret overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions as the ultimate expression of a predator's twisted mind. He also talked about intangible watchers guiding him. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, which watchers see as either psychotic delusions or manipulative theatrics. Nevertheless, the watchers find that reading these confessions evokes nightmares. A swirl of intangible hush, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, seems to emanate from each line. This overshadow illusions fosters a sense that the cruelty inflicted resonates beyond the actual murders, weaving a tapestry of fear in local memory. The watchers see overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, in how entire generations remain traumatized. Some watchers note that the mothers who lost children formed a communal bond. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, each bearing intangible heartbreak. The watchers interpret overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions that the Andes beast lingered not just physically, but in the collective psyche. In the end, fear grows in the Andes. Confessions of the Andes beast serial killer Pedro Alonso López stands as a monstrous chapter in the continent's dark history. The watchers reading or hearing these confessions come away with a mixture of revulsion, sorrow, and disbelief that such a figure walked among them. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Yet, from the watcher's vantage, it's also a cautionary tale about the synergy of environment, poverty, and broken systems that let unstoppable overshadow illusions run rampant. Some watchers claim the real terror is not that one man was so evil, but that society's cracks allowed it. Even now, watchers debate if Lopez remains alive in some remote corner. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Officially, his whereabouts are unknown. If he is living, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Watchers worry he might hide behind overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Or perhaps he succumbed to old age or vigilante retribution. Regardless, the intangible hush, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, persists in small Andean towns that still recall the days when children vanished at an alarming rate. Mothers hold their daughters close, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, for though the monstrous presence might have receded, the memory remains. Thus, the watchers end the story with a hush, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. The Andes beast, if truly gone, left behind heartbreak and fear woven into the Andean night. The watchers interpret overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, that we can glean some small measure of resolution from the knowledge he was at least captured once, confessed, and parted from society for a time. But unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions remain, for closure is incomplete. Perhaps the watchers glean that sometimes evil can neither be fully contained nor explained. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. The watchers pass down the cautionary tale across generations, naming the beast of the Andes as a silent warning. The darkest horrors often lurk in the most breathtaking landscapes. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, forging fear that lingers in the hush of the mountain wind.